one of the main objectives of our expedition, which when I say it, it might not seem as important, but it was so critical to the career of the scientists that were there. Our expedition was an early career expedition. And the scientists that were selected were actually specifically selected from landlocked states. Meaning that, yeah, like oceanographers who end up in places like Kansas. So, you know, we don't have an ocean in our backyard, and our research has been sort of affected because we're a lot further out from our research site. So the National Science Foundation had this goal of giving a group of people the opportunity to dive to sort of help them get a boost in their career. And those scientists were selected from landlocked states. They're all early career. And I can, now that it's 2 years since I've had the dive, I can comfortably say that it really did change my vision and my career path since I had the dive. Obviously, I'm still working on the data. I'm not 100% done with that project that I had on the expedition, but you know, I don't stop talking about the dive because it was such a critical point in my career. I've been studying the hydrothermal vents since 2010, and you know, I received my master's and PhD without ever being able to see a hydrothermal vent from up close. So eventually becoming a faculty and being given that opportunity was huge for me. It kind of made everything fall into place like pieces of puzzle, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to ask, so I was thinking, so if the submarine was down there when an eruption happened, what would happen?
It would be freaking awesome. It would be the most awesome incident in the history.
Wait, I thought you were going to say like it would be obliterated.
No, it would, because you have everything on the sub. There's cameras, there's temperature sensors, there's pressure sensors. So you can actually record what would happen right at the time of an eruption, which we don't even have on the surface of the earth, because who's going to go there when a volcano is erupting to record all the changes that are happening right away?
But it would still be safe inside the sub?
Yeah, because the eruptions then in the ocean are happening under the pressure of the water column. So there's no violent eruption. It's really just flow coming out. There's like maybe gas release, but the sub is floating in the water. So it can just, you know, move around to like get out of, to be able to see better, you know, what's happening if the view gets, you know, blurry because of everything that's being erupted. But no, it would be the most amazing experience.
Was there anything unexpected during your dive?
Oh, I saw a, this is hilarious. Because I was in my dive, there was me and there was a microbiologist. So at one of the spots that we were stationed, and the pilot was trying to get food chemistry, I was looking at my board to see like what's happening. So there was a bunch of crabs and we were up. So I was looking down and there was a bunch of crabs moving. One of them, and I'm not kidding, was on his feet. So he was standing and it only had one arm. So it didn't have both arms, it only had one. And then there were things coming out of it. And I was like, oh my God, Santiago, what is this thing doing? This is like the weirdest thing that I've seen. Like, why is he on his feet? And what's coming? Is he pooping or something? I couldn't even tell. And then I recorded, he was like, I can't look right now because I'm doing other stuff here. Just record it and show me later. So we went back up, then our dive was over, we went back on the ship, like 1 or 2 days later. I was like, Santiago, I cannot stop thinking about that weird one-handed crab. And we looked at it and he was like, oh, it's laying eggs. So it's literally on his feet and there was like things just like, it's like it was spinning in the air. was like, oh, that's how they lay eggs. And I was like, oh, that's so strange. And there are like other things. The most fascinating things was the creatures down there that look nothing like what we see in shallow waters or on Earth at all. And another interesting thing about them is that they're not scared of you because they haven't seen people. They don't know you're down there to hurt them or collect them. I mean, you're not down there to hurt them. You're down there to collect samples, right? And they would actually come towards the sub. When we were stationed and we were moving, they thought we had food, so they would come towards us really and move around on the a basket, move around on a basket to find something. If we had collected tube worms, because the crabs feed from tube worms, they would start picking on the tube worms if they could reach them. So we had the tube worms in a bio box with the lid closed, but there was a little bit of blood and things going out of it that it would attract them. So yeah, they would come towards us and try to explore sort of who we are and what we're doing.
Whoa.
So my dive buddy, who was a microbiologist, he was telling me about their little worms that live in those holes, and their tail is in the vent. It's in contact with hot water, while their head comes out of the hole at a water that is at temperature of 0. So their tail is at about 300 degrees C. Their head is at 0 degrees C. So they have a thermal gradient in this tiny little body that they have. And they take the heat from their tail and then distribute it in their body and use it. And then they get the food from outside from the 0 degree water.
Whoa.